Namaste viewers, welcome to Jnanayoga channel. Today we'll go through the second verse, second shloka from Īśāvāsya Upanishat, and let us try to understand word by word of that and then go to the meaning and commentary by Adi Shankaracharya, what is his perspective about this Ishavasya Upanishad second shloka. Before we go to the details of all these things, I request you to please like, share and then subscribe to my channel. Please go through the content completely and then post your comments. Now, the second verse, the second shloka goes like this. Kurvanneveha karmāṇi jijīviṣecchataṃ samāḥ evaṃ tvayi nānyatheto'sti na karma lipyate nare. I'll try to repeat it again. Kurvanneveha karmāṇi jijīviṣet śatam samāḥ evaṃ tvayi na anyathā asti na karma lipyate nare. Let us try to understand the meaning. Kurvanneveha, that means while performing, while performing, iha means here in this world, karmāṇi means actions, duties, or whatever that is prescribed in the rituals. He is referring to the prescribed rituals. Jijīviṣet, one should wish or desire to live. Śatam samāḥ. Śatam samāḥ means for 100. Śatam means 100 equivalent to 100 years, the full span of life. Evaṃ, thus, in this way, tvayi, for one, for your sake, or for tvayi, for your sake, na anyathā, not otherwise. Itaha asti, there exists from this path. Na karma lipyate, action does not cling or bind, nare, to a person, human being. Now, let us put all these things and then try to understand. The brief meaning would be, one should wish to live for 100 years. One should live for 100 years, full. Only by performing righteous actions. This is for performing righteous actions, that is karma, as prescribed by the scriptures. In Vedas, whatever that is prescribed, one should live for 100 years. For a person living this way, he says there is no other means by which he can live without being tainted by the effects of his actions. So, in other words, for those who have not realized this self, performing prescribed duties selflessly is the way to live a pure life free from sin. So it means, for those who have not realized the self, performing prescribed, whatever that is prescribed as per the Vedas, you perform the duties selflessly. This is the way to live a pure life free from sin. Now let us try to see how Adi Shankaracharya addresses this issue. Sri Adi Shankaracharya begins by explaining that this shloka applies not to the self-realized person. He makes a difference between a self-realized person and a person who has not yet realized this self. So it applies to the person who have not attained self-knowledge. Avidwan, you can call him as. It gives guidance on how such a person should live righteously in the world. So now, this he says, for a person who has already, or who has realized, self-realized person, and then a person who has not realized his self. For a person who is yet to realize this self, he has to live as per the guidance given in the should live righteously in the world. That's what it means. Kurvanneveha iha karmāṇi jijīviṣecchataṃ samāḥ. Iccchatam samāḥ. A person should desire to live in the world for a full span of life. That is 100 years. Those days also it was considered 100 as a full span of life. Only while performing karma, duties, such as Agnihotra, Sandhyavandana, Daiva Puja, Yagna, Yaga, all those kinds. The rituals prescribed in the Vedic books, they are meant to purify and sustain life. Kurvanneha iha karmāṇi. Now, evaṃ tvayi nānyatheto'sti na karma lipyate nare. The second part. If one lives in this manner, performing karma as a sacred duty, all the things which are as prescribed in the Vedas, then there is no other way by which one can live without being tainted by sin. Such selfless action, karma done without desire for fruit, does not bind the doer. So these are alternatives. One is self-acquired person, self-knowledge, who has attained this self-knowledge, and the other one. For the other one, he has to do all these things. So whatever he does without a desire for fruit does not bind the doer, does not bind that karma will not bind him. See, here it is something like there are two distinct paths. The core idea here is two distinct different paths. Shankaracharya, he emphasizes that verse 1 and verse 2, they represent two entirely different paths of life, which must never be confused. The Shloka 1 speaks of the path of renunciation, that is sannyasa. For the person who knows himself, knows the self, Gnani, who has realized the divine as all pervading, renunciation of desire and action is the way to liberation. Renouncing this desire, renouncing this action is the way to liberation. This is one. In the Shloka 2, it speaks of the path of action, that is karma yoga. Sannyasa yoga, the first one is sannyasa yoga, the second one is karma yoga. For the one who has not realized yet, for the one who has not realized the self, performing one's prescribed duties selflessly is the means for inner purification and gradual progress towards liberation. This is how he interprets. Shankara states that the opposition, the antithesis between these two paths, knowledge, jnana, and action, karma, is firm and unshakable like a mountain. They cannot be practiced simultaneously because we have to mark these words. Simultaneously you cannot do action and simultaneously you cannot have that jnana also. because it is firm and unshakable like a mountain. They cannot be simultaneously, because knowledge leads to renunciation. The knowledge which one has acquired leads to renunciation, while action arises from the sense of doership. It's a kind of doership sense. So this is what Shankara says. Why karma is prescribed for the non-knower? Non-knower means one who cannot completely understand the self. Sri Adi Shankaracharya explains that karma, that is rituals, duties, service, is necessary for one who has not yet realized the self, because it disciplines the mind and purifies chitta shuddhi, purifies it, that is chitta shuddhi. It reduces selfishness and strengthens devotion. It creates punya. Punya is acquired, merit is acquired, leading to a higher birth or inner readiness for self-knowledge. This way we can take it. Such action, when done without attachment, mark the words, without attachment, it does not bind the doer to the cycle of birth and death. Clear, he is trying to give a very clear vision of this. That is why the Upanishads say, na karma lipyate nare. Na karma means the man performing karma, the man performing those actions, in the right spirit remains untainted, remains, he is no longer bound by this karma. See, there are spiritual support quoted by Shankara also. Adi Shankaracharya supports his interpretation by quoting several ancient scriptural authorities. He should desire neither life nor death. He should enter a forest and never return. This refers to the renunciate, sannyasin, who follows the path of knowledge. For the sannyasin, there is no desire for life, there is no desire for death also. Naturally, when it comes, it will go. He should just simply enter a forest and never return. See, in the beginning, two paths appeared. The path of activity, pravrutti marga, and the path of renunciation, nivrutti marga. So there are two paths. One is pravrutti, the nivrutti. Pravrutti is path of activity. Nivrutti is renunciation. Of these two, renunciation is higher. This is what the scriptures say. Of course, this shows that both paths are valid, but intended for different aspirants, different group of people. Even Vedavyasa, the great teacher, confirmed that Vedas aim at teaching these two paths, the path of action, the path of renunciation. He has also said. So, to summary of this message from Adi Shankaracharya is, renunciation is Jnanayoga, action is Karma Yoga. Renunciation is for the self-knower. It is, the practice is like contemplation, knowledge of self, like this. Of course, the goal is moksha. It is not binding, no binding. But whereas in the Karma Yoga, this is for the non-knower or not a sannyasin. It is not that non-knower. He is a grihastha who is leading a family life. There are some prescribed duties like Agnihotra, Yajna, Seva, Daiva Chintana. So many things are there. These are the prescribed duties for this grihastha who follows this Karma Yoga. The goal is purification of the mind here. Whereas In the first place, the Jnanayoga, it is liberation. It is here purification of the mind. And there is no binding if done selflessly. In both the cases, it is not binding if they are done selflessly. This is what it says. So, the spiritual essence of this Shloka 2 is, this teaches a life of righteous activity for those still engaged in this world. It advises one to perform duties as an offering to God, Isha. Desire to live long only to serve through karma, not for sensual pleasures. This is not for sensual pleasures. Remain free from the inner stain of attachment and ego. So, when action is done with devotion, with selflessness and awareness of the divine, it ceases to bind the doer, transforming life itself into a spiritual path. So, the summary is, for the self-realized, renounce desire and rest in knowledge. This is verse 1. For the verse 2, that is the Shloka 2, for the worldly seeker, live fully but perform all actions as duty and absolutely without any attachment. Both lead in their own way towards purity and liberation, but renunciation, knowledge, remains the higher path. This is the gist of this shloka. Viewers, with this we conclude this episode. I hope this was quite interesting. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, viewers, for your valuable time in listening to this. Please post your comments after having listened to the video talk. Thank you.